we've chosen 8 characters from House of the Dragon only. Last year we did General, A Song of Ice and Fire, and it ended up being just the mainline series characters. So we're doing one with just the House of the Dragon.
Does this panel have a line? That is the question of the now. We want 401. This is it.
I've been like trying to do you have a badge?
I do. Are you guys full? We got room to get in?
I think there's enough space.
Excellent.
Plenty of spots.
If you can find a spot, that's it.
Oh, Peter Jackson. Okay.
Yeah, this is directed by Peter Jackson.
Gotcha. Well, yeah. Sorry.
For some reason, I always do the turns from this end of the table. And I'm not going to upset that.
What's that? You want to split? Right here? Yeah. Can we squeeze in here?
Sure, these 3 seats are taken now.
Gotcha. We just want the 2 on the end. I figured she'd rather you than me.
DragonCon tournament we have chosen via Facebook poll because that's the most scientific way to do something like this. Because Facebook works so well. We've chosen 8 characters from House of the Dragon only. Last year we did General, A Song of Ice and Fire, and it ended up being just the mainline series characters. So we're doing one with just the House of the Dragon, and I really want to know who wins on this one. Billy thinks he knows already.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I've never watched it.
We all know. I'll flip the table.
Before we get started and introduce our panelists, let's kind of go over the ground rules and how this works. We have 8 characters. The panelists will argue for a few minutes about each pairing to try to convince the audience of our point of view. Then we'll do a vote by raise of hands. When we're doing our arguing, are we cool with book spoilers for future seasons of House of the Dragon? If you are cool with future spoilers, raise your hand.
It's not just like
Okay, cool.
by the time I get around to watching it.
Okay.
We're like 3 episodes behind.
If you don't want spoilers, raise your hand.
For you. Yeah, okay.
The crowd has failed to rally to me for the last.
I think that looking at the list that we have, we can probably avoid future spoilers for the most part. Because the only character on this list that I think there would be major future spoilers for, one of the main spoilery things is almost 99.9% certainly not going to happen. So that's all.
Okay. All right.
So if there is spoilers, they're not going to be rated.
I'm Jennifer. I am the track director for High Fantasy, and you probably see me on a whole bunch of panels already this weekend, and you will see me on board later. I like to talk about things I enjoy. That's why we have DragonCon. All right, I'm going to start down at the end of the table. Who are you and what are you doing here?
Hi, my name is Seth Lockhart. I like Game of Thrones. I'm a fan. I've read the books a couple of times. I've watched the show a couple of times. I work with electronics, and then I also do some beta stuff for Amazon and Prime shows.
Me. I'm Billy Todd. I'm primarily at DragonCon, I'm primarily a Brandon Sanderson person. I do a lot of Cosmere stuff. I also do some real-time stuff as well. When it comes to A Song of Ice and Fire, I am show. The last time I read a word of Martin was 2002. So I do not even pretend to any working knowledge of any of the voice. I'm a show script.
My name is Hanako Riggs. I'm the host and creator of the Phantom Hybrid podcast, and House of the Dragon is one of the shows that we discuss on our podcast. I am also a show mainly person, although for House of the Dragon I have read Fire and Blood and the Road Prince chapter, which really
gave us the same information as but it was fine.
Hey, I'm Tara. You can find me online at a Geek Saga. My main podcast is the Geek Saga Show, which does have a House of the Dragon series called Hot Tea Takes, but also covers a myriad of other things, including, like, we have a Battlestar Galactica series that's been going, and also 90s and Naughties Cringe Factor, where we watch and dissect and make fun of 90s and early 2000s teen movies and rom-coms. Yeah, it's pretty funny. But yeah, I also ran Ice and Fire Con for 10 years. It was the first ever Game of Thrones Ice and Fire convention in the US, and like we'll hopefully eventually be coming back in some form, but I personally needed a break after 10 years, so.
Okay, so our Elite 8 were
Ignominious 8?
Yeah, whatever that is. Okay. All right. So our first pairing is Criston Cole versus Viserys.
Alright, I'm going to take devil's advocate on all of these.
Good.
All devils.
So, Criston Cole, it's after 10.
Yeah,
Right.
that's why we do
Okay.
this after 10.
He likes to get his pee-pee wet. But otherwise, Viserys being a poor king affected Westeros more than Criston Cole did.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. I'm automatically disagreeing with you on this because Criston Cole, House of House Slaw is what we call him on our podcast. Sir Cole of House Slaw over here is a 4chan red pillar, okay? And he's like so big angry that like he slept with Rhaenyra once, and she was apparently so good that he was so mad that she didn't run away to Essos and give up, like, I don't know, her entire freaking inheritance for him, that he was like, okay, well, let me just screw you over in every way possible, and also I'm gonna fuck your best friend. Yeah. Former best friend, I suppose. Viserys, in terms of Viserys being a poor king, was he a good king? No. But if we're only focusing on show Viserys, I really think that there's just not enough, there's not enough there to prove that Viserys was actually a bad king, and the person who, like, caused... It wasn't Viserys. Alicent misheard shit, Otto manipulated people, and...
But he was manipulating. Criston Cole didn't manipulate him. He just liked sleeping with all the pretty women.
Never turns out and you missed an opportunity.
I really
Down to manipulate.
But worse from Westeros.
He beat that guy to death during the party, and we didn't even see any retribution for it.
Person in Westeros, if you're inside a good man. And Viserys is a good man.
Okay.
Oh, I know you're going somewhere else. I'm trying to figure out, wait.
This is not quite that kind of
Yeah, I have to agree with Tara. Like, they're like, Viserys is here and Criston Cole is like up under this stage. Like, no.
I think for me, the test is the name of this panel is the worst person in Westeros, not the worst person for Westeros. And Criston Cole's a piece of shit, y'all.
He's okay.
He's one shot in front of his soul. And I mean, everybody on the show is pretty up. Let's get that straight.
Exactly.
in person without that makeup.
Yeah. So,
Viserys is a good person.
the problem for me is it's like, okay, Criston Cole knows the rules. The rules that he signed up for, and he knows that he's hypocritically broken them, right? He knows he's hypocritically broken them, and he still continues to exercise his authority over other people who are struggling with those rules themselves, and that's a problem. never mind the fact that he's like we know there's a bastard problem in Westeros. There's a problem. There's a systemic issue with bastards, and there is a reason why the King's Guard is not allowed to do what he's doing. Right? It's a threat to the state. It's a threat to the state, and he knows that he's doing that, and then repeats it. It's not like he's like, "Oh man, Rhaenyra, she's so hot. There's no way a human could possibly resist that." But also Alicent, right? Like that's not okay. This guy knows that he is a persistent threat to the state of Westeros, and if there's anything that Westeros needs, it's strong governance, and that means a threat to it. Viserys may not be strong government, but his heart is at least consistently in the right place. Right? He may be the good bad king, but he is at least the good king first. And I think I think this is not close. Put Criston Cole in the hole.
Well, when you actually bringing up the idea of bad governance, when Aegon is like, baby Don over here is like, hey, let's put Sir Cole of House Laws, like hand to the king, right? He sucks at it. He's so bad.
Well,
Listen, we can all argue about how Otto is awful in a lot of ways, but he is very effective as hand of the king. And Criston Cole was the exact opposite.
Well, not only that, but Criston Cole also, I will say this to Criston Cole's credit. Okay, to Criston Cole's credit, when he's offered the role of hand, he's like, "This is a bad idea." Like,
I don't want it.
The Greens are winning right now because of them.
He's the only one in the council that works with the king.
Yeah, his military decisions have put the Greens currently in the lead.
He has, but again, the test is.
I hate Criston Cole too. I'm just arguing.
Yeah,
so what's someone will argue?
Somebody has to feel content.
Yeah.
So here's an argument in favor of Viserys being the worst person, because we all are like, oh, Viserys, he's trying so hard. He straight up murdered his wife.
Yeah, he had
He literally held her down while someone cut her open. I don't like that.
Agree. It's really terrible. But what I will say is what the mistake Viserys made in that situation was not being honest with Emma about what was going to happen. Because the choice was lose both or possibly save the baby. And he could have taken a hot minute to have the discussion with Emma about like, hey, either you're both going to die or maybe the baby will live. And I think she would have understood his, and I think that does that make Viserys as a whole a bad person? I don't think so, because I think it was him, like, put yourself in that situation and the idea of like that anxiety and like, oh my god, like I don't know what to do, but I'm the king and they're pressuring me to make a decision. It was a really bad freaking decision, and he also regretted it for the rest of his life. Like when he died, his whole thing was like, I'm going to Emma, and like I think that, was it a really freaking bad thing that he did? Yes, but one really bad decision doesn't necessarily, if one really bad decision made every single person in the world a bad person overall, then I'm pretty sure we'd all be fucked.
Not only that, but that scenario is, that scenario is an inherent risk to being the royal family.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. When you sign up to be the royal family, you are equating your physical health to the health of the state.
Yeah.
And in most, like in Cinderella, you don't talk that way, but this is Game of Thrones. This is Game of Thrones, and this is life or death stuff plus dragons, and that's how statecraft works, right? And that's one of the fact that there is an injustice in this is a reason why this is not a good form of government, right? But if everybody has understood that this is the form of government, yes, he's put in a bad position, and yes, it's a shitty place to be, but them's the rules. Right? Them's the rules of that situation, and maybe the correct choice was actually never marry into the royal family to begin with.
Yeah. Correct. So my anti-Criston Cole stance stems from a book to TV show change when he's dealing with Alicent and Helena's has to make the choice between her kids. That's where I say Criston Cole is the worst at that point. Yeah, where he was supposed to be defending the royal family, and that's so. I'm arguing for Viserys just as somebody.
He's defending somebody.
Alright, I gotta cut us off here because otherwise we will not have time for everybody else. Alright, so audience, if you think Criston Cole is the worst person in this pairing, raise your hand.
Hey, sorry, I never said a word, but did not raise your hand.
Alright, Criston Cole advances.
The constant theme of Sonic Rise of Fires and Alright,
so brother versus brother is Aemond versus Aegon.
Defend yourselves there.
They don't know me first time around, and my brother had to come, so.
Alright, so we have a sex criminal versus a murderer.
You know what? I am actually going to say, even though
Guys, sorry, we love you so much, but.
Louder than you think.
So I'm going to go with Aegon because if you think about Aegon's treatment of Aemond throughout their childhood going into him becoming king, he's kind of a shitty person to his brother. And it's like I feel like everything that Aemond has done in order to get that spot on the throne has been in direct retaliation for the way that Aegon treated him. If Aegon treated his brother a little bit better, then maybe he wouldn't be sitting up in the bed, with a burst penis down his legs and not able to do anything. I think Aegon he's the reason for Aegon doing what he's doing.
I'm of two minds on this. I am in entire agreement with you about Aegon is probably the worst because he created Aemond more than anybody else did, right? He bullied his younger brother, and he was, yes, of course, like, Rhaenyra's kids were a little bit involved in, like, the paint dry thing in the first season and whatever, but, like, let's be real. Aegon bullied the crap out of his brother. Also, let's not forget all of the other crimes that Aegon has committed. All of that said, I still believe Aegon is the worst, but also there's that, Aemond tried to be a kinslayer. Like, he didn't quite succeed, but he might as well have, like, so... I'll be talking book canon or show canon, because in show canon it looked like surprise Pikachu face. Aemond didn't actually need to do that. He just lost control of his dragon, which is kind of legitimate. So I don't think that was like a purposeful kinslaying, but he would legitimately try to kill his brother. Like, so that's what I still think. Aegon is the worst because Aegon is the reason him onto the way he is.
And Luke.
It goes back and back and back and back, guys.
I'm going to let Seth go first on this one.
So, I think I'm losing the name because all of their names are the same. Aemond is an exact foil for Viserys' brother, in my opinion. Daemon. So he got treated shit, and Aemond was treated like shit. Aemond was just able to take better action against the older brother. I think David Tennant's character tried. Yeah.
Wow.
It is late, and I have been in this room all day. But I think there's a foil between the family of. So I defend. I don't know. I'm going to go 50-50, I think.
This is a tough one.
So I was very pompously up here before the panel was like, this is clearly Aemond the asshole here. And I have to say that you really put a dent in my facade. I still think I'm on Team Screw Aemond here, because here's the problem. Phrasing. There are a couple of things. One, I think Aegon is a bully throughout his youth, but a lot of that is, I won't say appropriate, but it is developmentally appropriate for an asshole teenage spoiled kid. To a degree.
We haven't got to Alicent yet.
To a degree. None of that is a justification for barbecuing your brother at 500 feet. And that...
The whole town. And the whole town.
I assume that all of these people have committed many worse.
But also, don't forget that Aegon also had all of the rat catchers murdered because one of them was involved in the plot.
None of these people care about the small folk. They all hate the small folk. Which is why we should all
Maybe even bring up that dog.
David is on record advocating, committing, and feeling pretty chill about war crimes. Okay? Alright, he's over here barbecuing cities with his brother, okay, and his brother.
Hey, Criston Cole. Criston Cole there's hanging it on.
When your behavior is enough to where Criston Cole looks at you and is like, God.
Oh my God, if the incels doesn't like you, then maybe there's a problem. Shoot, now you might have just changed my mind.
Number one, that's a problem. Number two, when you're... Okay, that's a character test.
Well, but to be fair, she's like that with both of them.
Okay, so that's not resting.
Only the kid she didn't raise. And perfect, pure Helena, who does not deserve to be involved in any of that.
So, I think for me, the issue is the weight of Aemon's decisions are after he's been old enough to know better. And when he's actively made a decision, almost all of his decisions have been to inflict harm. Not just to, I mean, when Aegon is saying we need to go kill the rat catchers, is it an immature, bad, poorly thought out plan? Yes. Is it plausibly linked to statecraft? Maybe. Okay, probably not. It's really terrible, but it's different from I want to see this dude burned in front of me. Okay, which is real Targaryen trait that is not so great. Okay,
But I think the thing we have to remember, even though they look a little bit older in the show,
Except for Aegon.
Aegon is still supposed to be like around 16, 17, if I'm not mistaken.
He was like 26. But
Oh yeah, no. Aegon is that Steve Buscemi meme with hello, young Targaryen.
Aegon is the person who is carrying around all of the trauma from his childhood and the bullying, because you have to think about it. It wasn't just his brother who was bullying him. His brother pulled in the 3 strong children, as they say.
Hey. Blasphemy.
But you get what I'm saying. For Aemond, that's like insult on injury, because you're not only bullying him, you're bringing in the 3 so-called bastards to also help bully you. And that's like, for someone like him, that's betrayal on top of betrayal.
Right.
And he doesn't have the emotional maturity to process all of that. So the only thing he can do is act out in anger when something.
So I hear all of that, and I accept much truth. There is much truth in this, but. Here's the problem. The problem is this: if a dude bullies you, your brother bullies you, your brother kicks in the door when you're in the pleasure house, and he makes fun of you in front of this really bizarre mother surrogate that you have. None of this is okay. All of this is answered with a punch in the face, not with burning cities to the ground.
Why are you have a dragon?
When you punch Aegon in the face, you're punching the person that did it. when you're burning a village, when you're burning a keep, you're striking at the universe. You're striking at the kingdom itself. That makes you a worse person than hitting back at the person who's responsible for your thing.
So I defend that by declaring war. War crimes are okay in Westeros because they don't have the
Well, there's no such thing as a war crime.
The first when they were there, where Aegon got burned, that was war.
Yeah.
The second time, the city, that's because he was pissed because his sister had 3 additional dragons and nobody bothered to tell him.
Sure.
That again, a petty response.
I think it's right to say that these things are caused, they're triggered by that behavior. I think that's all true, but whether they're justified by it is a separate question.
I'm going to cut you guys off because now we got to vote. At the end, we got a lot of war crimes to get through tonight. All right. This one's going to be a tough one. All right. All in favor of Aemond, 1 eye. All in favor of Aegon the Elder. Sorry, okay, Aemond advances. Alright, now Aemond versus Otto Hightower.
Is it recorded?
So you have the pedophiles versus the
Alright, so this is my argument when we last year for Game of Thrones original. Everything bad happening in Westeros right now is because Otto Hightower manipulated the situation. And point blank. If Otto had not been handed the king, there would be war. There would be no war.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't know that. Because we've been over a fact. I'm talking George R. R. Martin. George. Tyrion Lannister had been head of the king, but we would not, obviously. Yeah.
No, I kind of agree with that. I feel like a lot of this is laid at Otto's feet because one, when your daughter is married to the king and she's just living her peaceful life, it's already been decided that Rhaenyra is going to be the heir. You are the one who plants the suggestion in her head that once Rhaenyra takes the throne, she's going to kill your children in order to secure her claim. I don't think Rhaenyra would have done that simply because of the love she had for Alicent, and it was like Viserys made it known that she was going to be heir. If they just left it like that, it would have been cool. But Otto having to be in control, having to try to escalate his family's status, he was the one that fucked everything up.
Yeah. And then my counter argument for Otto is if he was actually still handed the king, the Greens would have probably already won.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing that him being there fucked everything up, and then him leaving fucked everything up. So it's a double whammy of bad.
Well, I think the problem there is Otto has unleashed powers he can't control. Yeah, right. The whole idea of this is I'm going to put my legacy on the throne, and you don't control your legacy, right? You can set the groundwork for it, but you don't get to control it. And these people still don't understand that Targaryen blood is not a good thing.
What's the point?
This story is telling itself, but they've not heard it all yet. And they, I think Otto made a bet, and that bet is that Rhaenyra, like everybody else, can't be trusted. And I think we as viewers and readers probably believe, certainly as readers, because my understanding is the book is the way it is. All right, we as viewers believe that Rhaenyra probably would have held to that rule. She like you said, she would have done the right thing. She would have held to Otto would have been wrong about it.
At worst, she would have exiled.
She might have exiled, right? At worst. And I think that Otto, the problem is Otto has learned the lesson from generations beforehand that would be correct if any other player is on the board except Rhaenyra. And he doesn't trust her not to be like everybody else. And does that make him a terrible person?
So if he would have raised his grandchildren to be better,
Well, that's not his job. He's a grandpa. Okay, let's be real. Like that is not his job. I don't want to give Otto any credit, but it is not his
father.
That yes, exactly.
This to me is the tiebreaker, and this is where we come down against Otto. For me, he's acting as the hand of the king in order to advance the Hightower position. That is a conflict of interest, and he is breaching. He is back to what I said about Criston Cole. He knows why he's in the role, and he is betraying the role by advocating for something else.
Which is why Viserys dismissed him.
Which is why he needed to go. And the problem that I have with Otto is if Otto had said, you know what, I don't think Rhaenyra can be trusted if a Lannister is married to if instead of being a Hightower it's a Lannister. If he'd gone in and said, but we know that Otto is not the kind of person who would have put a Lannister or a Stark or a Baratheon or anybody else in that position. He was only ever going to put a Hightower in that position because he's here for the Hightowers, and that's why he's a piece of shit.
I mean, here's my question. This is totally an aside. Do not make this a discussion, but he has a whole ass other son. Why was this kid never ever put up to, like, he's Criston Cole's age. Why was he never given, anyway, just saying.
We have a question, and you've been like wanting to say something really fast.
I agree
Do you
with that.
really believe that Otto thought that Rhaenyra would kill his grandkids? Or was he really just plotting and using that as an excuse to advance his family? Which I think was probably.
I think
he was thinking, what would I do if I was Rhaenyra? And I would absolutely murder him.
Yeah, I think the question is the only point that doesn't matter. And the reason why I think it doesn't matter is because even if you accept Otto's logic, it's still self-serving.
Oh, right, no, absolutely.
Yeah, I think I agree. I agree with you that it's pretty.
I'm just gonna insert one thing real quick, and that's that if we are only going with show versions of these characters, Otto is absolutely the worst. That's it.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff that happens with Daemon in Fire and Blood that I don't think is ever going to happen in the show, and even if it did, I still think Otto might edge out a little bit on being the worst, but definitely without the stuff that is going to not happen.
And in particular, Daemon himself has had the opportunity numerous times to cause a crisis on the throne, and has stepped back every time. And that is Otto's going to.
Let's not forget, Otto put forth his daughter not only as a companion to Viserys, but he also did it with Jaehaerys.
Why don't you put on your mom's clothes and go talk to the king?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not weird at all.
Yeah, you had your hand up.
I was just going to say that Otto's the one who suggests Rhaenyra as heir to Viserys. Viserys wasn't even thinking about that until he did that to screw Daemon. So he also helps put Rhaenyra in a position to be heir just to try to screw her over. So he helps put Rhaenyra forward in a way she may not have been necessarily.
Well, and that's book only
In the show.
No, that's in the show.
Is that in the show too? Okay, I think I glossed over that in my head. For some reason I thought that was book only, but yeah, it's oh dude, you suggested this thing, and then it came to pass, and they were wait, no, now my daughter has had kids by you, so I want to take it all back.
Yeah.
So
Otto, you suck.
Yeah, a lot of that is just anybody but Daemon. Okay, now I've got options that aren't anybody but Daemon. I'm going to pick what I think is the best option.
Yeah, Billy's right that Otto's going to make the decision that's best for the Hightower at that moment. No forethought in it. He was against Daemon, cut Daemon out of the way, and then started on Rhaenyra to get Rhaenyra out of the way.
Good old Otto, you can always count on him to do one thing.
But he underestimated Viserys' loyalty to his daughter.
Yeah, he did.
And Rhaenyra. Yeah,
Alright.
Yeah,
I gotta cut it. I know we got. Okay. Alright, so Daemon versus Otto. Alright, all in favor of Daemon as the worst person in Westeros.
You need to talk about it.
He got on all of season 2, and he learned some lessons in season 2, you guys.
Yeah.
Come back 2 years from now, when House of the Dragon season 3 has happened, and then we'll revisit this.
Alright, just to confirm, all in favor of Otto Hightower. Alright. It's also surprising he's not the worst.
No, because like if Daemon committed, I want to see him and take over, maybe this would be better. I don't think he could.
First pairing,
Or if he committed.
Larys versus
I want to
Alicent.
support
This is the weirdest pairing. Let's be real. For obvious reasons, there's Littlefoot.
I had to do a second tie-breaking poll between
Yes,
four
Littlefoot.
different people
I said that.
to get this pairing.
You know I'm calling him Larys Littlefoot, right? Like, I hope you understand. He's little finger, but he has a foot impression.
We don't kink shame at DragonCon.
We do not kink shame, we kink ask why.
Alright, Seth, you were about to say something.
Alicent is with Criston Cole when the rat catcher gets in there with Helena. Helena is a cinnamon roll, and whenever she's involved, I defend her.
As you should.
Yeah. So in this case, fuck Alicent.
Oh,
yes.
That's what Criston Cole said.
I mean, I'll be completely honest, I think we could just roll with that and be like, oh my God, Alicent, you're the worst mother ever. You continually put your daughter in, your perfect cinnamon roll daughter, who just deserves to like be able to play with her crickets in their cages, okay? Continually put her in super dangerous situations, right? Like, not just, you know, messing with Criston Cole on the side while, I don't know, your grandchild was getting killed, but also then after that, they go through the streets with their little freaking parade, and Helena does not want to do the thing, and Alicent makes her do it, and then Alicent makes her go to the sept with her, and they get attacked by the small folk
Yeah, they don't
who are rioting. For Christ's sake, Alicent, just let your freaking daughter play with her creepy crawlers in her bedroom. That's all I have to say about that.
He's the future.
And going back to my my argument about Aegon earlier, if it wasn't for Alicent being a horrible fucking mother, then maybe Aegon wouldn't be such a bad person.
Yeah.
And Aemond.
She's such an enabler.
Alicent, even though, okay.
All I hear is all the high towers over the word.
And water is wet. I mean, Alicent as a mother, she just, if you had taken more time with your children, if you had given them just a little bit of love, a little bit of attention, aside from them being like the spare heirs or whatever was going through her mind, I think a lot of this conflict could have been avoided. Now, granted, we still got Otto there, kind of whispering in her ear, but I think if she had just taken a little bit more time with her boys, then both of them wouldn't be such horrible, horrible people. And, you know, we've had discussions about the fact that Alicent lost her mother, she didn't know how to be a mother and that sort of thing. But if you without a parent know what that feels like, then don't be an absentee parent to your children, because we don't really see Alicent interact with her children until they're much older, or until she's defending them because one of them got his ass whooped.
Or just giving the disappointed look.
I want to throw one thing in here, just because like I feel like nobody's talking about Larys. Yes, we all know he's freaking horrible. He's creepy. Okay, he killed his brother and his father. He is a Kingslayer. I don't want to discount these horrible things that Larys did. The thing is that Larys's things are kind of, I don't know, they're like insular almost, whereas Alicent's Alicent's bad decisions have like way more far-reaching consequences. So I think that's why she has become the focus of this debate.
And we don't really expect good things from Larys, so.
For me, the thing is this: you got two kids that ain't got no mamas. and they got a mama. The mama's the one that's the problem. She gotta go.
All right, you in the back.
Yeah, so not to kink shame, but Larys basically.
Hold on, can you speak up just a little bit?
So not to kink shame, but Larys basically Harvey Weinsteined Alicent, like blackmailed her through sexual coercion.
Yeah.
Not only did he kill his parents, but he's also like a really rapey guy. And
The vibes are bad.
so like this is like small scale evil versus big scale evil. But like that small scale evil is truly evil.
I wouldn't even say large scale evil on Alicent. Just small scale evil versus large scale not there.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
Alicent didn't do evil. She just didn't do good.
Like what's worse? Like,
And she thinks she's doing her best.
Larys, the decisions that he made and the people that he harmed, like, we know he was harmful to Alicent, he was harmful to his brother and his father, and, maybe a few people in Harrenhal. Alicent's decisions and the things that she does and the trickle-down effect, she's affecting a whole kingdom.
And not only that, but she's doing this to the only people in the kingdom that can ride dragons. These kids are weapons of mass destruction. And she's raising them with no conscience. That is not okay.
Not to discount any of the bad things or good things Alicent should have done or whatever, but it wasn't really insular what Larys did. It's the argument earlier. It's all Otto's fault. He wasn't king, this wouldn't happen. Larys didn't kill his dad, he killed the hand
of the king. Yeah.
Which is what brought Otto back. If you
Yeah.
do that, then Otto wouldn't come back, and according to that logic, none of this would happen if Otto was right. So
Still gotta pick on it.
How dare you disagree?
Right?
I like have to replace Otto.
Right.
The next hand.
I'm going to call on two hands, and then we're going to do the vote, okay? Black and white shirt.
I was just gonna say, with Alicent, she knows what and then to still have Helena, who's very fragile, marry him and have kids with him. I feel like that is also very deeply terrible.
I think that is going to happen anyway.
Control.
The brother sister marriage is going to happen anyway.
I don't know which one's worse to marry.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, red dress in the back. No, you.
Okay, yeah. I was also going to say too, like with the Hightowers, it's almost like a different culture with how loyal they are to their family. So a lot of times we think like,
Bring in Aemond and Hagar to Wolf's Rest and kill our Queen of Silence and
People in Brooks Rest, the first time was to kill a dragon.
No, but it also they were also burned like half of their own army.
But Aemond.
We're talking about an entirely different person now.
Aemond said, "There's a bunch of civilians. How about I barbecued them?" End of day. I mean, he did this. This is the thing that he did, and he did it knowing that it was not. He didn't even have to do it.
I think there's for me, what the difference is Aemond acting out of like just childish immaturity, right? And don't get me wrong, not saying he's right, but Criston Cole does this stuff out of like,
Okay,
I'm pissed about this thing that this person did to me, so.
I see a lot of hands.
Let me have one sentence.
Okay.
The one sentence is this: if you're a civilian and you see Criston Cole coming or you see Aemond coming, which one are you more scared of? Answer is
Criston Cole and Aemond work together to have the dragon and made the decision to do it. Criston Cole didn't get on the back of the dragon, so he is not worse.
But see, I think the original plan was he was supposed to be there because they were luring Rhaenyra. They were trying to lure Rhaenyra out, and Rhaenys and Nalise ended up coming. So I think originally
That was Criston Cole's idea.
he was supposed to be there with the dragon. Now, when Aegon decides to bring his drunk ass on because he feels like he's got something to prove, and Mommy just hurt his feelings again. Another thing for Alicent being a bad mother. But I think at that point, Aemond was like, okay, you know what? You are a shit king. Let me go ahead, kill you, and kill all the witnesses so I can come in and fix all of it.
Which honestly has some merit to it.
Yeah.
Later,
Okay, we got to make a decision.
Some people's arms are very tired. I want to call on a couple of them. Okay, you in the very back with the red thing.
Okay, my main question is this about who is worse or whose actions caused worse things? Because if Cole had a dragon, things could have, I mean, what kind of person, and also not even saying he had a dragon, but like, it's like doing something out of spite and killing one person or killing 10,000 people is obviously an easy comparison, but as far as whether they're a bad person or the worst person is what I'm asking is, you know.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. The motive is it the consequences or the motive?
The whole thing is he's supposed to unite.
I didn't get an answer.
And then made it everyone else's problem.
They just dismissed it. They didn't answer it. Right.
If you're the worst in Westeros, it's kind of like this. More of that motive.
Right. They both have the same motive, but one had burned more.
We'll move on. Okay, you there with
I don't know.
the green lanyard.
It isn't called the highest body count in Westeros, and Criston's gone around now and told everybody just how much he wishes he had a dragon.
Oh, and he sent that guy's twin brother to kill him.
Yeah.
Criston Cole was Aemond's mentor from the time that Aemond was a kid. Like, you see him in the yard egging Aemond on, like, and Aegon on to bully the strong boys. And he's planning with him. He's like, yeah, you should, like, if he's supposed to be, like, more of a mentor figure to the kid, he doesn't really have a good father figure, and he's the one who's putting him in this position. Like, he trained him. They're in the yard training together, so.
I know, I see you, but Billy has to talk.
Sorry, I'll yield it just one second. The one thing I want to say about this is, after seeing the effect,
I think so. This is just the Cole section. Y'all changed my mind.
Yeah, but also, like, see, like, you created this, my dude.
Brainstorm.
Yeah.
So, I think pretty much every woman in here will agree with me on this, which is Aemond is like an anime villain. But Criston Cole is a real guy. Walking down the street, who do I fear more? I'm not scared of an anime villain. I am scared of like an incel guy.
Alright, we got the power
that he passes all his top stuff.
Alright, we do have to take our vote because we are going to run out of time. Okay. This is actually the last thing in here. If I run over, it's my problem.
Yeah.
Alright, Criston Cole versus Aemond. All in favor of Criston Cole? All in favor of Aemond.
It's not how many you killed, it's why you killed them. That was the point I was trying to make. It's not how many you kill, it's why you killed them.
Like, Truman killed a fuck ton of people, but like, he's not Charles.
Right.
Exactly. And the votes out, don't get me wrong.
Dexter Morgan killed more than Hannibal Lecter, but he didn't do it.
And he only killed bad people.
But you just said if
I'm not passing judgment.
Right.
Right.
If I'm a woman. Right. But this is what I'm getting at is as a viewer, this resonates on an individual level as a viewer, right? And it's more visceral, it's more real. And in that sense, it presents a greater and more realistic terror.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I think that also
Andy
going to
sucks.
carry into this last bracket.
Okay, so alright, Otto versus Larys. How are we feeling? How do we
We really need to discuss this. Bad, but Otto
well aware.
Similar question, just about intention
Yeah, so what's worse? Looking after your family or looking after yourself? Otto looks after for the Hightowers. Larys looks after for himself and the feet of the women he can
Again, is it intentions or consequences?
Thank you. You made sure she made a good marriage.
Larys is worse. That's like Larys is only concerned about himself.
There's less consequences, but there's something more, like, morally, ethically.
If you're walking down the street and you're going to be followed by Otto, you're being followed by
Okay, a lot of crosstalk. Can you repeat that, please?
In like mid-season 2, when she sat down and she like really kind of wanted to talk to him, and she just got tears in her eyes. I'm sinned. I don't want to
No,
I don't want to
no
hear
one about it.
That's how strong the culture
Move on.
Alright, yeah, white t-shirt.
Yeah, if we're saying that Criston Cole is worse than Aemond because he's just like a worse guy and he's scary individually, then Larys is absolutely worse as an individual than Otto. Otto may have worse consequences because of his power, but Larys is creepy and gross.
I think the most empathy I had for Alicent, I think the most empathy I ever had for Alicent is when she finds out that Larys has replaced all of her mates with his own people, and she's like, and now I don't want to be naked in front of anyone. Like, I'm taking this bath by myself from now on. Yeah, because she does not, whatever she's doing in the bathtub, she does not want it reported back.
I missed that line of dialogue. I was wondering, like, what's here? I missed that line.
Yeah. So,
Larry's got like little peepholes in her.
No, I don't want to know what sex crimes are going on there. Okay, alright, yes.
Like, I get that, like, Otto has done, like, a lot of bad things and, like, he's furthering his family and whatever, but Larys literally shows up, like, in the thing and is like, oh yeah, you don't like this person who happens to be my family? I'll kill them. Like, you happen, like, you do this, you don't like this? Oh, let me kill them. I mean, Alicent, even in the end, is, like, so scared of him because he is that evil and that psychopathic, and I feel like that's what the difference is. Kind of like Larys is just like so evil, like, and that's what makes him bad. He kills anyone for the tiniest little of favor that he could gain. He will burn anyone. That's like my thing, because like Otto does a lot of garbage, like we get it, but he has the like family in mind. He wants to position. Yeah, he does a lot of horrible things, but like Larys is straight up. I will like burn down an entire continent if this gives me a little bit more favor with you who is above me.
I think includes you in the blame for. So yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you just change.
I think that really comes down to like, are we talking about the worst person for Westeros or the worst person? Somebody else started that shit, and I'm just like, what do I have that now, like?
So he's the little finger of this show.
And little he did. Which was a surprise to me. But now, like, while I'm on TV, like, oh, there's the little finger.
Says a man's gotta have a code. And I don't, as somebody.
Ramsay Bolton. Now, Ramsay wasn't designed in the
And I think Otto has a code and Larys does not.
I know it's a little finger, but he's a middle finger.
So, a point in favor of Larys is that he is the most sympathetic to Aegon in his maiming. Like I can't decide if he's doing it because he's trying to curry favor with him, or if he's genuinely sympathetic to
That's the first kindness that poor kid has had.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Isn't there like a point made that his like securities, like all his wealth, is not stored in Harrenhal, like where he's like almost like related to? So that should tell you that like he's in it for himself to begin with, because he's just like they're like broke. Like there's like Daemon goes over and they have nothing. They're like sitting in a cold castle with dilapidated like everything.
Wants to go to Harrenhal. That's like the worst. And we talk about worst places.
If a sleep disorder was geographic.
Alright, let's go ahead and take the vote between Otto and Larys. Okay? All in favor of Otto Hightower being the worst person in Westeros.
Intention, not consequence.
Okay.
This is like 10 people?
It's intentions, not consequences.
I see some of you abstaining.
Y'all just don't like crazy people.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so our final matchup is Criston versus Larys. And yeah, we are going to run over time. I apologize.
So weird.
Yeah. Not
This is the weirdest timeline yet.
You can't kill your dad and your brother and not be a piece of shit.
Yes.
Are we seriously comparing Criston and Larys? Because I'm sorry, it is always
Yes.
me, Criston.
Alice just wanted to do this stuff with Criston. Just did not want to do this stuff with her.
Not doing it. If you have any point, in any situation,
Literally is sympathy for the disabled.
Criston Cole is the person who
I think he does, yes.
basically is assisting the Hightowers and the Targaryens all because he got pussy whipped and
Yeah, he got told no and he took it very personally.
like, dude, it's been 20 years. Let it go.
the time is that good.
The only redeeming value that I think Criston Cole has is that Alicent finally gets to have good sex. Like, I think that's really his only redeeming value.
I mean, does it matter? I'm not arguing it shouldn't matter, but I'm asking, this is a legitimate question. This is not a rhetorical question. Does it matter that Alicent gave Criston Cole her favor? Because we're
She gave him her favor.
okay, so the reason why I say this is because we're talking about two people. We're talking about two guys who are both not great, that share a common denominator, and that common denominator is Alicent. And so my question is, does it matter to us in this discussion that Alicent at least has made a choice as to which one of these two people she thinks is probably the bigger piece of shit?
Yes.
Yeah, because I was going to say, at least the relationship that she has with Criston is consensual and it's mutual, and it appears that she may actually like have some feelings for him.
Yeah.
Whereas Larys, that just feels
So
like
transactional.
Yes, very transactional.
But we're basing the worst person on Westeros on
Alicent's opinion.
He's actually, honestly, this feels very reductive, and now I feel like I kind of want to like back off from this discussion because like the idea that we're like choosing the worst person in Westeros based on a woman's behavior and like her relationship with two men feels really down.
Well, I'm asking this question. I'm asking this: is her opinion even a factor in that analysis? Not
Yeah, I don't think we're looking at it as which one does Alicent like better, but we're looking at their treatment of Alicent.
Yes.
Well, I kind of go with the guy over here. If you can kill your father and your brother, then you are probably.
But also, you were over here shouting about Criston Cole being the kingmaker. So I don't know if I'm your best friend or your worst friend right now. Like, we're in a fight at the moment.
This Larys is number one.
This is a really weird pairing with
For me, this is very simple, and I kind of liken it to like the Penguin and Joker. The Penguin is this bad guy; he's just doing violent shit, which is what Cole is doing. Joker actually wants to watch the world burn, which is what Larys is doing.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Well, when you put it that way.
Alright.
I like the way
Kind of like what he said, it's very simple. I think of it as Cole acts...
Guys, I'm sorry. Please, we love you so much. Please don't talk. We can't. This room has terrible acoustic.
It is really bad.
Cole acts all on emotion. Wannabe Littlefinger calculates everything. That's all I wanted to say. Cole's all emotion. He acts on his emotion right then, while wannabe Littlefinger's always thinking and calculating and trying to screw people. Little fucker. We were calling him middle finger.
Which one does that make it worse? Is intention worse or is intention?
That's what I'm letting the crowd decide. I just want to throw that out there. Is it emotion or is it, you know?
Yeah.
But Larys is actually, he didn't have a future and he put himself in a position very much like Littlefinger.
So towards the end of the series, you know, Cole and Alicent was a thing, but he pretty much shelved her when he got a hold of some power. And then he's the one who's, you know, took the army and rode off and started the fight. So, you know, yes, Larys killed his father, brother, family, but Criston Cole killed lots of innocent people. So which one?
Alright, let's
go ahead and hold our final votes. We are 5 minutes past. We will need to get out. Alright, if you think Criston Cole is the worst person in Westeros,
I can't decide.
I am proudly raising my anti-Criston Cole family.
He reacts the other guy.
all in favor of Larys?
Yeah.
Dude, this is a
heck yeah.
There's a lot of abstainers, I feel like. There's a good number of abstainers.
Then vote for Larys.
We're ready to vote again. Can you count?
We can separate it.
Can we add points for pedophiles?
Okay.
We haven't made your decision because obviously Criston Cole. Okay.
Alright. All in favor of Criston Cole so we can do a count.
Alright, I see about 400, so.
Oh no, there's definitely more lore.
No, I mean, I feel like I know what's happening here.
The right thing's happening here.
I'd like 52. I think counts out 5, but yeah, I think that was probably
We'll say that's 52.
Okay, so 52 total?
Yeah, 50,
Okay.
that's 52 against Criston Cole.
Okay. Alright, and for Larys.
If you're on the fence, just make a decision, you guys. Nobody's gonna judge you. Nobody's gonna remember you tomorrow.
Raise your hand right now and you're right here.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you want me?
It's in the 60s, but it is Larys.
Alright. Larys.
If you enjoyed this panel, please go to we've got a charity.
Also, House of the Dragon Season 2 panel is tomorrow 1 p.m., but it is not in this room. It is in the Hilton Crystal Ballroom. So it's at like the back of the Hilton. So like come talk out actual House of the Dragon Season 2 with us tomorrow at 1 p.m.
It's all
wait, so Littlefinger won last year and Littlefoot won this year? It is from
One of the better ones we've seen this weekend.